Good morning. Cold day in Minnesota today. So just to get me warmed up this morning, do a little micron work. So I've got a piece of paper here. It's watercolor paper that I just threw some watercolor on super fast yesterday. And so I'm just going to do a little quick tutorial of micron pen over watercolor. So I first fell in love with microns, several years ago. And I just have probably bought like 5 sets of them so far. I just love them so much. What I love about them is, it says right on the package that they're archival. So you can do them over watercolor and you can watercolor over them. So that's what's really cool, is I started with just a base of some watercolor here, and if I want to go in and add highlights or something to these, I can, because they won't smear. So I just love drawing with them because they're nice and fine. You can get great details. Now I am actually using the 08 right now, and in this pack of 6 that I bought, and by the way, you can get these at your local stores. You can get them online. I've bought them on Amazon. I've bought them at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Blick, to name a few. They're just a wonderful thing to add to your collection. I use them mostly with watercolor. I do use them with Copics. Sometimes I even use them over my acrylic paints. Mostly when I use them over acrylics, I use them when I use them over acrylics, I usually use that in like the sketching out process of a painting. For instance, I might need to add some lines to where I'm going to put something, like put in a building, and so I might use the the microns. I can't seem to talk and doodle, so I should probably just stop talking. I use them in paintings that have like fine details. So right now I'm working on a painting that has buildings in it, and I kind of went in with my microns first and kind of laid the buildings in, and then came in with the paint over top. What's nice about them, like I said before, is being that they're archival, they don't smear. So they did cover pretty well with acrylic paint, and they didn't smear around. When I first learned how to paint, this is totally going off topic, but when I first learned how to paint, I learned with charcoal, and the reason that we used charcoal was to lay things in. You kind of clean it up, brush it off. Well, I first learned to paint with oils, and when I switched to acrylics, that didn't work out so great. And so I've been looking for other things to use with the drawing process. And I am mostly an acrylic painter. So here comes Kitty. You'll probably see her tail. She's a funny one. I find this drawing process very therapeutic. Alright, I'm going to come in with these Tombow markers and I'm going to color in my designs. So Tombows are a water-based marker, and they're supposed to blend with some water. So let's just try it. A little water. Yep, you can pull the color right on over. So Tombow markers come in sets and singles. Let's do... So you should be able to, in theory, scribble a little bit of Tombow marker with some water on your craft sheet. And that's what I did, and it does seem to be working. I like to keep a piece of paper handy to color test these on. And Tombows do have two tips. They have the brush end and they have a fine tip. I have a set of them that I've picked up in singles. I do have this one pack, and that's the portrait palette. I bought my singles at Dick Blick. So Minnesota, we are lucky to have two Dick Blick. They usually just go by Blick now, but we do have two Blick stores in Minneapolis, and I'm a little ways from Minneapolis. I'm in the southern part of the state, so I do happen to go through Minneapolis quite often, and so I do tend to shop at Blick quite often. Depends on how much I'm up through that area. My husband has gotten into pottery now, and so we've actually been going to our Blick now for pottery supplies, for glazes, but that's a whole nother story. Anywho, almost stuck my paintbrush in my marker cap. Sometimes I don't think that I can really talk and do at the same time. I don't know how this happened, but I got a big spot there. I'm going to try just kind of doing dark in the middle and pulling it out. And that does seem to work pretty good. Yeah. So what I like to do when I'm working in mixed media is I do like to use a variety of materials. I'm kind of a collector of sorts. I tend to have everything. I just can't seem to get enough art supplies, and so that's why I decided, heck, I should make some tutorials with these things, because for one, it'll get me using them, and two, maybe I can help answer questions for people who may not be like me, may not have everything, and they're looking to get the best supplies. I'm kind of an addict. I actually am a recovering addict, and so now my addictions are art supplies, I guess. So I'm going to keep working on this.